Iya, Awesome. This is a plat amendment where there are 3 plats being vacated: Florence Village condominiums phase 1, 2, and 3. Those plats correspond to the 3 buildings that will be outlined in just a second. And the applicant is requesting to combine the condominiums into, so that one building is 1 plat instead of lots of units within the plat. It's these 3 buildings, and it'll be Milano 5, 6, and 7. And they are located generally at 920 West, 1055 North in the PD 22 zone. Here,
There's no new building here. Right?
no, it's just on the paper
What
change.
would be the reason that they would choose to do this? What would be that?
Typically, what we see is when people want to do this is if they own the entire building with all the condos in it, they are getting tax notices for each condo. And so it's easier to get 1 instead of 15.
It might be cheaper based on
And it could be
the building's gonna be valued at whatever it's done. So
It's
it
gotta be-
might be cheaper.
But from what I read, if I remember correctly, they, what they had previously, they could sell the units,
because they were condos.
and now they're just
And you can
renting.
sell the building.
They could sell a building, but they can't
It
sell
would
the
be
unit.
each individual unit.
We lose a lot of affordable.
They're rented now. It's not like-
But they could be individually sold.
No,
They're
well,
not.
the buildings are individual, but not units within the buildings.
Yeah.
They could be sold. Units.
Right now, they're individual. Each one can be sold as a home.
Yeah,
If we turn it into the apartments, then we have to sell the building.
okay.
As far as the land use itself, either one is permitted, so there's no issue as far as the zoning is concerned with apartments or condos. It's a housing unit that was developed, so whether they do it one way or the other, it doesn't really.
So in these few instances, they comply. So really, we voted against it. I mean, isn't it pretty cut and dry that these should be approved?
Yeah, with an administrative approval, when under the Orem's code, the project has to go through a review process at the city, and then it goes to the Development Review Committee, the DRC. And our code says DRC can't forward an administrative project onto you unless it complies with our code. So we've gone through the staff, we think it complies with every code we have. If there is a planning commission member that thought, well, we shouldn't approve this, what we would need you to do is identify a specific code that we have that this project, with which this project does not comply. And that would be the basis for a denial.
So essentially, if it's one more review chance to see if there's something that's not destroyed.
Yes. And as staff, we've already done that. And if in between DRC and now we thought there was a particular code that this project did not come into compliance with, we would tell you that. But now that it's here in front of you, we think it complies with code. So sometimes these administrative projects are hard because we may have a neighbor come in saying, oh, don't do this. There could be various reasons why they don't like it.
Yeah.
But it complies with the zoning, it complies with all the technical codes that we have. And therefore, we really, our hands are tied, we have to approve it unless there's a specific code we can cite that this project doesn't comply with this code.
Here are the 3 plots that are anticipated to be vacated. They just outline those 3 buildings that were shown on the previous slide. And then here are the new plats that are proposed. This is the Milano 5 apartments. It is the southmost building. Milano 6 is the one on the corner, and Milano 7 is the next one over. And here's what they look like from Google Earth. And staff recommends vacating Florence Village condominiums phase 1, 2, and 3, and approving the final plats for Milano 6 and 7. Any other questions on this one?
Florence is a much nicer name than Milan. Place. That's not justification, we don't like the name.
So PEs on buildings, we have requirements, they have to stay the way they were.
Both used like the PRD, both used to be implemented. So either way works for the zoning itself.
Okay, so that's good to know. So in the future, in PRD, they can change whatever they want as long as it fits within
The zone,
the zone.
or modify it through the council process.
So, yeah, so it's not as locked in as people say.
Well, yeah, the buildings and the units are locked in. There's no, they can't add on to that building. The way that they sell them or the way that they manage them isn't, it's a county, the way you're wanting to manage the property. It's not the number of units, height, those types of things are locked in. It's the way that they're selling the property. And that's not,
Yeah.
we typically get involved.
Yeah, it's just for different uses.
Yeah, usually, in land use, you care what the use is, not the form of ownership. And so it would be difficult to have a project where the use is substantially similar, but the ownership form is the only thing that's different. That can be very problematic for the city to try and regulate.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't see it as you're regulating ownership, you're just saying that it stays independent units, because that's what we agreed upon initially. So we have X number of units, not 3. And so this is just flattening it in a different configuration.
I think there's also the State Condominium Ownership Act, which has some requirements for us to allow this type of ownership. Is that correct, Gary?
Yes, there is a state condominium conversion act in which if they follow the process, you can take one like a 20 unit apartment building and turn it into 20 individually owned condominiums, common areas and things like that. And so whether it's under state law, whether it's 20 units in an apartment complex or 20 units individually owned by people, it's still just 20 units.
And 3.3.
This is the Jackson Convenience Store addition, and it is a site plan. This convenience store is located at 1308 West University Parkway in the C2 zone. Here is the vicinity map and the zoning map for the property. And here is their site plan. They're coming through for the addition because it is greater than 10% of the existing building. And so that's our cutoff for where they have to come through to get that.
They're adding like drive through or just more space?
Just more space to get
Bathroom
in the building.
coolers.
The
Yeah. Went to
You know, that's
the neighborhood 80.
one, yeah. The parking will still be okay with the additional square footage. And here's the elevations. It's just extending what the building currently looks like. And here is the street view of what it currently looks like. And staff recommends approval. Do you have any other questions about this one?
They're gonna compete with that.
I was gonna say.
That's why I remember.
It's across the street.
But they don't have restrooms already.
Well, it's a bigger versus space, so they'll have bigger capacity. So it's a larger restroom and bigger coolers.
About 10 years ago, they did add, if you go back to on the backside, they added coolers for another on the meeting space.
Yeah,
Pouring into.
Remember that 10 years ago.
Very
Rest. My wife refers to that place, why did I call it? Nothing bad.
Going as an owner now.
They do give a banana when she buys it, she brings a banana home.
Jackson's good.
Great. Item 3.3.
Awesome. This is a text amendment, amending Article 22.2.1 of definitions and Appendix A of the Orem City Code by enacting Standard Land Use Code 7313 for agri-tainment as a permitted use in the OS5 ROS zone. That's our open space and holding zone. Agri-tainment would be defined as farm-related tourism or farm-related entertainment activities that are permitted or authorized in return for a fee on agricultural land for recreational or educational purposes. Examples of agri-tainment enterprises include, but are not limited to, pick your own fruits and vegetables, farm markets, festivals and fairs, interactive animal displays, hay and amusement rides, and corn maze enterprises. This amendment would allow this use in any of the areas that are the kind of lime green. That's all the areas in the city that have OS5 as the zoning right now. There's quite a bit in the southwest corner and then a tiny little strip going up the canyon.
The park.
Yeah.
Sorry, the one on the south, is that by the annex, the one in the southwest Orem, or
Yes,
is that part of the annex?
yes.
Well, and I assume that will eventually become a neighborhood, right, or that's for me, so that's allowing this in the meantime.
In the meantime, or if like the Wilkerson Farm, which is who's making the application, they're not planning on rezoning it anytime soon. So it's going to stay in OS5. They want to, what they have there now with their farm, and they also have this entertainment business as well. And so this would allow them to do what they're doing. What's happened over the last few years is they started to expand, adding more rides, adding more events. So they've kind of gone out of compliance with what OS5 allows. So this is kind of a way to help them continue what they're doing by allowing this as permitted use, so that the rides and all that kind of stuff they're doing now will be in a permitted.
Why would someone oppose to stop it? Possible reason.
I mean, the only other option, we could have other type of farms convert to this. Maybe, in the meantime, maybe that's not a big deal, but
And so the Wilkerson Farm is across, it's on the east side, and you go way down there.
It's
The other end, right?
another corner.
Oh, I lost the other side.
So they do have
Smaller one is the llama field.
So they have, this piece here, they do have one property over here that they farm, or they made it all.
Oh, I thought it was the other one below that, just to the right of where you're at.
And this is what they're at.
Oh, that's the other side of the freeway.
Yeah, that's the llama field.
Freeways here.
Yeah.
They're right there.
That's the border with Pro, right?
Yes. So they've added some buildings and things are working with staff. They've added different buildings over the years without this proper permits and things. We're working with them to come into compliance. This is one of those steps to get them into compliance so they can continue to operate as. So this for them is a pretty big, their plans and the way that they are able to make some profit on this type of use. So it makes sense for us to support this.
What's the,
The area up on the very northeast corner, up Provo Canyon, is that where the pathway is right there?
That's where they homesteaded the power facility and things like that. That's where that is. So the river comes down through there.
And our Timpanogos Park and things like that.
So I mean, it's not going to be developed into an agri-team.
That's where it's going to be so fast.
Yes, and it's really more of a open space ag or holding type zone, knowing that it's never, if it's going to be developed into something else, it's going to have to come through the process. Planning commission, city council to get a reason. So your Marie is on that OS5, the majority of that's probably going to be rezoned in the future to single family or other types of residential type developments. So eventually we'll see applications come in, and eventually that map is going to start changing to more of the yellowish colors, which is our anticipation. The point of having an OS5 is so they have to come in and go through the process.
so the business that they've established there, I guess they're looking to expand it in some ways.
So they're continuing to add different rides.
Yeah.
It was last year, this year they've added another ride, and so that's kind of caught our attention. They're continuing to do different things, which is okay, but we need to make it permitted.
So objections that people may have would be traffic and the labor, I suppose, I don't know what,
Traffic, might be
yeah,
something. But I mean, it's basically a 8-week,
it's a seasonal.
6-week period.
Yeah. So farming is, in this area, is turning from the produce to now letting people see what a farm is like, right?
Part of it, I mean, if you haven't been out there and walked through the corn maze and how they design it. And how they, get hay rides, and like you say, they definitely across into Provo, use that continuing as agriculture, they do grow the food, they donate a lot of it to local charities. Even on the north side, they do, some of it's turned into parking lot. And others, so they still are actively growing for donation.
And this is what, their 4th year?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is new. It's
Oh,
going on here.
That's what that part is doing.
Yeah.
Agriculture.
So I'm curious with agricultural things in the city more. So I understand that the above ground water in the canal system is going away. I don't know what.
Somebody can have it. When the users don't need it anymore, they develop or whatever, then they can help that water off. Some of the canals are actually going away because the water is soft. Eventually, there's still a lot of.
I have a neighbor that runs a 4 to 3.5 acre beech orchard. That's about maybe 450 south. Just slightly east of Main Street. And his understanding is he rents the rest of I guess the canal, the water company. Is largely controlled by Linden. You know anything about this at all? And so they're not going to compete with that. Yeah.
So everyone did, it's on. Continue to get the water.
Yeah.
Any other questions specifically about the agri-payment aspect of it? Because that's what we're looking at is yes or no, does Orem want to have agri-payment in these areas? That's what's the matter for us today. So any more questions specifically about that?
Agri-payment, that's quite a word.
Agri-payment, some practice it, so it comes down.
All about Corn Valley. You look throughout the country, that this is kind of. The use that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
I think we're on that.
Oh my goodness.
That's not a public hearing,
There is a public hearing related to
This
that.
would be a.
okay.
Yeah, because it's legislative, so. But also with public hearings, things will be said, and we don't have to respond to everything either. That is said. So,
But
Will they have had to have noticed for that?
We did.
yeah, it's gonna be the same neighborhood. It's like the third. It's like the third time.
We'll see if they come in with pitchforks and that, right?
So some of them may have issues with, the really wet winter that we had. There was some flooding in the subdivision. That's.
I don't see going in with pitchforks. I think Peyton's Crossing really support local farms. It's the gas station they oppose. I don't think, their kids probably all go over there.
So there might be some issues with peer point come up that may or may not be related to this. Yeah.
Yeah, the water's gonna be there regardless of whether the agri-payment is there.
Yep.
All right, so everything. We can read it. Was there something else? I think that's-
So one thing, so the city council did review the GIS transportation last time, it was continued. So this Tuesday, so there's, that is.
Why was it continued?
They, the meeting, Gary can go into detail, but they had some issues, not, they just wanted to make sure the verbiage was correct. So they continued to allow Gary to come back with some. Because we were trying to make changes in the meeting, and by the time we were done, there was so many changes, it made more sense to continue and come back with a clean copy of their motion.
Yeah, they had some additions they wanted to add and stuff.
So I wanted Gary to have something to do, right?
It's been about or that word just.
Well, we know how long it took us to get the word verbiage out.
So I think they're ready to report, they just want to make sure.
Yeah, and then, you know, in a meeting, it's like, oh, let's change one word, okay, not a problem. But the more changes you add up, it's good to come back and review it one last time before it's, yeah. See if I can accurately reflect what they were intending to do. So, that's one of my big projects actually for tomorrow morning. Trying to do it.
What
The-
changes did they suggest? Were they substantive changes or pretty minor changes?
They were, the basis for what they were looking at came from the planning commission's resolution to the council recommending approval with some changes. And there were, the projects that we went through. I think everything that you had recommended, the one thing on 8th East, or was it 8th West?
8th West, but it was a remove it and then put back on studies to fix the pinch between center and Fourth Line.
And to,
So to review and come up with.
yeah, it's exactly to look for sources of funding to better study that corridor.
That
That,
remove the widening aspect of that.
yeah, and then there was some language with a couple of subsections of the plan in the executive summary.
Right.
With some things, and then the study items that the planning commission recommended the council seemed to be in favor of all of those that we studied. There was a lot of support from the community to now that we have a transportation master plan update, we need to go back and look at one thing is the bicycle plan that was done. Sam, was that 2010? Yeah, 2010, it's now 13, gonna be 14 years old. It's time to update that, look at it. And some of the other things I can't, trying to picture the resolution in my head, I can't think of.
Then they wanted us to look into maybe tying ag funding into improving the State Street corridor and stuff.
Oh, beautification on
Yes.
State Street.
Or using some of it to do connected drives so that we can reduce access on the state. Through connected shared drives and stuff, so.
Now, we had the issue of, or the example of on the Parkway. If you're at Lowe's, you can go all the way down to Honey Bay Can without getting onto the Parkway. There's cross easements, and that can reduce the traffic impacts out on the street. Whereas on State Street often, you're here and you want to go next door, you've got to go out on the State Street around and that can be difficult and cause problems. So to look at those issues and the beautification issues along with that. So I think they're thinking along the same lines as the planning commission about the direction that the transportation master plan should go and things to look at in the future and study.
So the other item that's on city council would be the item we dealt with, I think it was last time, 16 South. Overlooking that is going and extended. With the development agreements, hopefully help the neighbors not have these. So office only.
Including those 4 units or getting rid of
So
them?
the 4 units plus office uses. Based on the meeting they had after.
The limiting the building usage to office, retail.
Oh, 14 south, not 16.
Sorry, 14.
Like 16 south, I'm thinking Sherwood already came through. Yes.
14.
I'm thinking through here.
Is there an update on the gas station situation for Peyton's Crossing people?
So
Are they,
maybe Karen's best to give it, they legally issued a letter saying they were not. Basically, the traffic study wasn't sufficient to deem the application. They have since appealed that decision, so it was appealed to the Board of Adjustment, who will probably could get a response to the board to appeal the staff's decision that they didn't meet all the requirements to submit for a complete application prior to the rezoning back to C2.
Who's on the board of adjustments? Is that a state thing? The Board of Adjustments?
That's a fitting, there's 5 members, basically like a planning commission, we're the citizens that are put on the board. Once that goes there, whatever decision is happening in that meeting, then they can appeal to the city or then appeal to the district.
Will the Board of Adjustments meet without any outside influence?
It's a public,
No, it isn't public discussion.
Often they meet,
when needed, basically, so it's usually once, maybe twice a year.
that's why I asked, I feel pop on the calendar once in a while.
Yeah, we scheduled, maybe, we want to meet, maybe once.
I guess makes sense, you know, reason to show up if they're not gonna actually.
Typically, you know, they deal with variances, they deal with special exceptions, when they deal with appeals. If staff makes a decision that somebody doesn't like, they can appeal to the board and they can, it's a quasi judicial look at it and say, no, staff is wrong, or staff is right. And then there's a variance if somebody lives on a hillside, for example, and just can't meet the setback because of slope,
Yeah.
they can grant a variance to that setback. There is a special exception for homes that meet certain different criteria, there's 3 different criteria. If they're surrounded. In a single family home, and there's everybody else has multi-family. They can grant a special exception that allow them to do next up to a block. So that's pretty much what they do, and they only meet on a as needed.
So has that meeting been scheduled and do the people get notified of it?
They will get notice, it has not been scheduled yet, it's not. Probably not a week and a half. But yeah, everybody within 500 people. Including state website.
So the company is kind of digging their heels in. Like they really want to build that gas station, even though they're not very welcome.
Like,
Well, during the further.
it's
What?
at least it's only 10.
I know.
Yeah.
Cool.
all that.
Pretty.
Potential amount of funding.
We're ready. We're good. All right. So we'll call this meeting to order. And we have planning commission. We'll begin with the introduction.
Father in heaven, we thank you for this marvelous day and we ask that thy spirit go with us as we do the business of this grand city and guide us to do the right and meaningful things for the citizens of this great city. We thank you for the blessings you heaped upon us and the moisture we received. Say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Item 3.1.
Okay, so item 3.1 is a plat amendment approving the final plat for Central Park West and the conversion to office condominium plat for Central Park East condominiums located generally at 1875 South State Street in the C2 zone. Here is the vicinity map. The final plat for Central Park West refers to the building in the area outlined in red closest to State Street, and the conversion to office condominiums plat for Central Park East is referring to the other building that is further away from State Street. Here's the zoning map showing it in the C2 zone. This is the final plat for Central Park West. And the conversion office condominiums plat for Central Park East. There are reciprocal parking easements across the plat to their parking. And here's what the buildings look like from State Street. And staff recommends approval. Thank you.
Just my only question, I think it's great, but will Central Park West also be converted to condominiums?
No.
Yeah, I like to report.
Thank you. Central Park West is under a different ownership than Central Park East. We replanted it because if you look at the original plat, the two properties, when you submit 4 or 5 meets and bounds descriptions, part of the subdivision rules requires us to get those combined into single lots, and so that's why it's done where it was.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Would I call for a motion? A motion from somebody?
I move that we approve the final plat for Central Park West, the converted office condominiums plat. For Central Park East condominiums located generally at 1875 South State Street in the C2 zone.
All second.
Aye.
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 Item 3.2.
Thank you.
Item 3.2 is another plat amendment for this one. It is making Orem Village condominium space 1, Orem Village condominium space 2, and Orem Village condominium space 3. And approving the final plats for Milano 5 apartments, Milano 6 apartments, and Milano 7 apartments located generally at 920 West, 1055 North in the PB 22 zone. This amendment only applies to the 3 buildings that are shown here out in the vicinity map. And here they are again, outlined on the zoning map. And these are the Orem Village plats which are to be vacated. And here is Milano 5 apartments, the Milano 6 apartments, and the Milano 7 apartments plat. Essentially, in the separate condominium units are being combined into so that it's only one building on the plat instead of separate units that can be held by separate owners within these buildings. And here is what the buildings look like. And staff recommends the planning commission vacate the Forest Village condominiums phase 1, 2, and 3, and approve the final class for the model 5, 6, 7 apartments. Thank you.
I just have a quick question. So the parking doesn't seem to be included in any of those. There are easement for access for them to have parking for those buildings.
The parking is mainly included, it's kind of hard to see on here, like,
A little covered.
yeah,
Okay,
it's included in, I believe,
and that's adequate for the building?
number 5. It kind of wraps around the other two.
And that equals what's needed for the building.
Okay.
Any questions for the? Any further questions from the city? Okay, is the applicant here? Yes. So they'd like to confer tonight. Is there anything you'd like to add or?
No, since this property was developed, they've been managed and used as apartments, and we're just changing the plat to match the way they've been used. We don't have any intention to sell this complex.
Thank you.
So,
Kurt Williamson,
A question for the applicant?
are you of Italian descent?
I wish, no, like 3% of it.
You were opinion about the name Florence Milano.
Yeah, I think we just did a trip to Italy and we were working on this project. And we had all this inspiration to use Italian names.
This is not a public hearing. So we'll hold further comments for further. But if there's any questions about the item, we're happy to talk about it afterwards. This is the administrative thing and we are in checks and balance on what the process is. That is what our.
I have a question for the city. I don't know if parking was included as one of them rather than 3, if the apartments were full, would that mean all the parking goes into the flat? Like, it was just weird the way that was divided up. I just want to check. Just curious.
There's probably reciprocal, I'm assuming reciprocal parking on all of us, what to verify before we call it. But each of them should have access to the required parking for a specific building. And so if they don't, then it's not reciprocal, we'll make sure that. So,
Okay. Are you ready to motion?
I move the planning commission to approve the vacation of the Forest Village condominiums phase 1, 2, and 3, and approve the final plats for Milano 5 apartments, Milano 6 apartments, Milano 7 apartments located generally at 920 West, 1055 North in the ED 22 zone.
Okay. I'm gonna abstain.
I.
I mean, what goes out is.
Yeah.
So I'm,
You decided to abstain.
you know, I seconded it because I was here for the whole, I seconded because nobody was going to second.
Okay, so you're not gonna vote.
I'm not gonna vote.
Okay.
It's like,
I'm gonna vote.
You didn't vote?
that's.
Okay, did you vote?
Yeah.
Okay, you second them?
I did the 8.
Okay, sorry. So just like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Gary, does that invalidate the second because you didn't vote?
I wasn't here for the whole thing. Is that invalid? No. Okay.
Then we had 5 ayes, and 2 abstain.
Yep.
So the motion passed. Okay. Item 3.3.
3 is for the Jackson convenience store petition that is the site plan. It is pertaining to approval of the amended site plan for the Jackson C-store addition located at 1308 West University Parkway in the C2 zone. This application was necessary as the proposed addition exceeds 10% of the existing building. This is the vicinity map showing where it is located. It's on the northeast corner of University Parkway and Junior Road. Here's the zoning. And here's the proposed site plan. It's a little bit small, but there's that orange portion to the left side of the building. That is the proposed addition. And here are the elevations showing the proposed addition. As far as the exterior goes, it would look like the rest of the building just extended out. And taking into consideration the additional square footage of the building, there's still sufficient parking. Here's what it looks like from Geneva Road. And staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any questions for staff on this item? Okay, the applicant here, you guys can word and say.
My name is Garrett Herman. I'm an architect at Core Architecture, representing the client Jackson's Food. I think staff presented a really good presentation, so I don't have anything else to add unless you have questions for me.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Okay. We're ready to move motion on the thing.
I will recommend that the planning commission approve the amended site plan for the Jackson C store addition located at 1308 West University Parkway in the CT zone.
I second the motion.
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Item 3.4.
Item 3.4 is a text amendment for agri-entertainment. This involves amending Article 22.2.1 of definitions in Appendix A of the Orem City Code by enacting Standard Land Use Code 7313 agri-entertainment as a permitted use in the OS5/ROS zone. That is the open space or holding zone within the city. For this purpose, the proposed definition of agri-entertainment is as follows. As farm-related tourism or farm-related entertainment activities that are permitted or authorized in return for a fee on agricultural land for recreational or educational purposes. Examples of agri-entertainment include, but are not limited to, pick your own fruits and vegetables, farm markets, festivals or fairs, interactive animal displays, paid and amusement rides, and gourmet enterprises. This change does apply to any portion of the city that is currently inbound as OS5, this would be a permitted use there. The OS5 zone is shown on the map as the bright lime green. The largest chunk is located in the southwest corner of the city. Here's what adding the definition into the section of definitions in the code would look like. And here's what the change would look like in Appendix A. The staff recommends the planning commission board recommendation to the city council for this item.
Thank you. Any questions from staff?
No, I think so. This agriculture is allowed on this right now, and so the agriculture and agri-entertainment, so the both are allowed. Would be allowed.
They both would be allowed.
Yeah. The vice important.
Hi, my name is Rachel Wilkerson and we operate Wilkerson Barn in that southwest corner there of the city. Yeah, so I can answer anything that you have. We currently do a fall, we open for 40 days in the fall. We do a car maze, carnival rides, hay rides, pumpkin patch. So 40 days out of the year, it does the agri-entertainment. The rest of the year, it's a fruit and vegetable farm.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
So traffic might be a concern for some. I don't know what
Yeah.
your experience has been. How
Yeah.
you address that.
Saturday can be very, very trafficy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we turn some of our backfields into parking. We have we can fit close to 900 cars. So we have a very large capacity and we have some staff hired to basically tell people to pull in because they don't see a lot of parking, but once they pull in, we've got it wrapped around the back fields. So there's lots of parking. Yeah, and in the past, we've also called on the police to help with traffic control. We have our staff that does that too.
Is your business, what are the years population trends?
Well, I would say we have only done this area for the last 4 or 5 years. It kind of, we've always grown pumpkin, which has been, our major crop for us, but we kind of added a little activities. It started with activities and now it's kind of getting bigger and bigger, but we grow like 10,000 people a year and we're getting, hopefully we'll serve about 50 to 60,000 this year that come through in those 40 days.
How many acres do you have in all of your property, not just the one?
Yeah.
It's right there, contiguous.
Yeah, we're managing 28 contiguous acres, 15 plus 3 is on the Orem side and then 10 is on the Provo side of 2,000. So we're right on the border there of Orem and Provo. So 18 on one and 10 on the other.
So Willis Farms been in the family for some time.
No, not at all. This is a new thing. So it started in 2010. We just leased a couple acres to try to do the farmers markets and do that type of thing. And we kind of have traveled through all the different ways. We've done a roadside stand. We've done all the farmers markets from Salt Lake to Park City to Provo. We tried even like a weekly subscription of fruits and vegetables. And I'll tell you, it takes a lot of cucumbers and radishes to make that type of money.
It's a fun one myself. I have great appreciation for what you have to do to make
Oh, yeah,
success of that.
that's right. You can only charge so much for carrots and potatoes,
Well,
but
we didn't sell ours at entertainment, so I
Yes.
think we should have done that.
yeah.
Why it was quite wrong, but I'm impressed with what you're doing.
Yeah, it has changed. So our dream was to make money off of the food, right?
Yeah.
Have fresh, farm fresh, comes right off the field to them. But the culture is a little bit different. People eat out a lot. Maybe they don't cook as much, and it didn't quite work out that way. But like I said, pumpkins from day one has always been a good way to go. And now we grow 20 pink, blue, bumpy. Most they don't eat them. They just use them for fun.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is a public hearing, so we will be opening up for comments from the public. Please go to the mic and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And I will open that.
So my name is Richard Wilkerson Senior. And so in 1910, I had a farm in Canada, potato farm. And we came down this way because Canada was getting hard on our children. So we decided I'm originally from Provo here. I was born in Provo, farm. Raised over here by Sharon Elementary School, went to that school and it was first open. So I've been here a long time and saw Orem change considerably. The whole valley. It used to be when I was growing up, there was orchards everywhere. But in talking to I'll be sliding now. It's not 10 grand, this is John Grant. I don't know if he's still alive, but anyway, he told me once, he says, my dad had 100 acres of peaches. And time he got through harvesting, marketing and everything, he opened the packing house, $600. So agriculture has always been a hard goal. And I know because I've been in it for a long time. So we started this little operation over here and we worked food. Don't think we can sell food anymore because It's not that the demand has not always changed. You're gonna sell it to McDonald's or somebody else, and then they sell it. And so we have had to shift. But my experience in being around the food industry, I know how fragile it is. And if you have been watching the news, I'm sure you have, our society is getting more fragile. And I stood here back in 2013 or whenever it was, and I tried to pitch the idea that we need to reserve farmlands for food security. Everybody thought that I was a little offbeat. But 10 years later, it doesn't sound so stupid anymore. And it's gonna get maybe worse before it gets better. So my purpose in working this farm has been to provide food, to maintain and retain food growing land. The Orem bench is the delta of the Broke River. And when you go by the canyon, the soils there are rocky. When you go on the far reaches of the delta, that's where the river drops the sand. And the river drops the sand out there, and that's why we farm vegetables there, because river delta soil is the best soil you can grow vegetables in.
Thank you.
My name's Casey Backus. I live right behind the farm. I just have concerns about what this does to the farm. Because we love the farm. We want to keep the farm as the way that it is. We love the Wilkersons. We want to keep that. I just don't want this to maybe tax them, to maybe push it out. I just want to express my concerns to you guys. I don't know exactly what this means to them. But as a neighbor, I want to keep it the way that it is. My only concerns are maybe some of the public roadways, the drainways, what that means, if they're going to develop that, if they're going to clean that up, if they're going to continue to keep this as a farm. That would be a concern of mine. I know that they have a lot of trail water that comes to and piles up in the farm. I don't know if that's a concern of mine because I'm right behind it, if they're going to develop that into that because they rezoned it. But my major concern is keeping the farm the way that it is, please. Thank you.
I'm Jill Backus. I agree with my husband. We love the farm. The traffic doesn't bother us. Parking doesn't bother us. But I would like, I don't know, I hope that a letter that I wrote was sent to you guys. They told me that it would be, the amount of water that we got was for days. I can't even explain to you guys how much water we got. And all I'm asking, I'm willing to work with anyone who's willing to work with us, but I can't afford a private engineer. And even if we put a sump in the corner of that bedroom, we had water for 4 days straight. We were up every hour for the first 2 days, draining it into the sewer. Had we not done that, we would have been in feet of water. And I'm an adopted mom. My children require more care, and we built that basement for them. It's the only spot we gave for them. So ours is on the front and they're a little older now, and we are too afraid to fix it up. And the only reason we have that house in all the neighborhood, I want to be clear, is because we built it. We built it. I was cutting wood with my husband and doing the floor, and I was doing grout on the tile. We did everything ourselves to have a little equity, and now it's fun. And our children don't have, they're in the loft. So I'm willing to work with the city. I was told that drainage was supposed to keep going down, and it gets stuck on the corner, and we have pictures of how bad it was, as well as the drain that got backed up. It is bigger now, so I'm hoping that will help. But with the amount of water, I don't know, I'm really afraid, and I'm afraid to redo my basement, and I know that I couldn't sell it honestly, even if I tried, because I don't want this to happen to somebody else. So I think the farm is a commodity, and I think that I'm hoping that the city and all three of us can work together to maybe fix that, and not just ask one little family money to hire a private engineer or put a sump pump big enough to hold 4 days of water. But I agree, we love that farm. We love it. We don't have a single complaint about it other than we just want the proper drainage that we were told was supposed to be there in the first place. And that's all we want. We don't want money for our basement. We can do it. We did it already, right? We can do it again. And we will do it again. We don't want a penny. We just want the proper drainage so that we can give our kiddos their space again. And if you guys will help me with that and not leave me alone, oh my gosh, I would sing your praises because I need help. It's been sitting that way for a year because we're just too afraid to do anything else on it. So, but I love the farm. I love Orem City. I love Utah. And I really feel like this is something that we can do. And I don't think it would be super costly. I think we can all do it together. But if it's just me, it's too costly. Thanks.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward? And we'll close the public meeting at this time. We do appreciate the comment. We do appreciate the input. And what we are focused on today specifically is whether or not we should allow agri-payment in Orem so that Wilkerson Parks can continue to do what they're doing. And it's just a zoning change. It has nothing to do directly with the property or what's going on in the property. That's the motive for it. Just so.
So I mean, that means we should not then address the drainage issue or can we ask the city to look into that? Where
We can ask them about it.
So if this zone is approved, what will happen is then they'll come through with the site plan. When the site plan comes through for approval, then we'll look at drainage, we'll look at traffic mitigation and things like that. So it'll be corrected and made better and everyone will be made whole.
So you're saying approval of this change facilitates in some way what they're hoping to have accomplished regarding water.
Yes, it's a starting point. They'll need to be, with their site plan, they'll have to address those things, make sure they don't have drainage, getting so close to the property, might have things like that.
Okay.
Or this is just an addition to the existing zoning, they're not changing their zoning, right?
Correct. It's not a zone change, it's adding that.
Yeah, so we're just allowing agri-payment on the spot.
As a permitted use.
Right, so
So they're not changing the zone.
they don't have to do site.
It will, because
It will.
the site is changing.
Once we pass this, but they have to have a site plan to continue to do their business. In that zone. So this is just the first step in that process. Any other questions?
No, but I would like to make a statement. I would just like to say to Richard Wilkerson that I think all of us support Wilkerson Farms. None of us want anything to happen. So I think we're all very motivated to make sure that this works for you, for the neighbors, because you are an asset to our city.
Second.
And let me also add that, let's see, I forget your last name, a couple that spoke, but we did receive your letter and we're sympathetic to that concern also.
Thank you.
We hope that something can be done to rectify things so you can move forward and finish that basement.
The public meeting is closed. So. Is there any other things or ready to go motion?
It just seems like it is approved, there's a possibility that the range heights will usually work, it's not, it is the same. So, is that, I think that's a clear communication we see.
Does someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we, planning commission board of recommendation to the city council to amend article 22-2-1. Definitions in appendix A of the Orem City Code by enacting standard land use code 7313 agri-payment as a permitted use in the OS 5 or OS. So
I'll second.
Yay.
Okay, motion passes. And to be clear, we're making a recommendation to the council, so this will go before the city council. Please plan to attend them then and let them know as well. We support this going forward. Item 4.1. Meeting minutes from September 20th. Any comments? Any, okay? Then I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes for September 20th, 2023.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, minutes are approved. Then,
I make a motion for the board.
I don't know, I'm like, Brian's not there, and so it's Jason, David, I think. Okay, all right.
I make a motion because we adjourn our meeting. Second.
Aye.
Aye. Can we adjourn?
Who's second with that?
Yeah.